Resource Committee meeting to order, please. Need some hands. Need some hands. We got Councilman Clinton. Would you do the prayer, please?
Bow with you. Father, we come to you. Just want to thank you for this day you've given us, Father. Go with us now as we take care of this business, this job that we do, Father, the job that the people elected us to come up here and do for them. Father, help us always to keep them in the forefront of our mind, Father, and just go with us now and keep our hearts and our mouths and everything in line. Bring some glory to you, Father. Most of all, thank you for your Son. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Sure, do the roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Rex Jordan.
Here.
Bill England.
Honey.
Paul Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker. Harvey Buzzard.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
John Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Dick Lay.
Honey.
Janice Taylor. Here. David Thornton.
Honey.
Victoria Vasquez.
Honey.
David Walkenstick.
Honey.
Brian Warner.
Honey.
John Masters. We do have a quorum.
Moving on down, need approval of the March 20th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on down to reports. Management Resources, Bruce Davis.
Good to see you, Bruce.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. What can I do for you?
Keep on keeping on.
Soda pop?
Isn't that a good question?
That's a good question.
Oh, now, Dick.
You know what I want.
Yeah,
I have a list.
that's a loaded question. I understand.
Are you ready for questions?
We have a report in front of you. We're busy, as you can tell, and we'll be glad to try to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Bruce?
Bruce, give us a brief update on the buffalo. I know we've had some young ones. We sold some.
Oh, can I defer that to GV?
Sure.
Okay, GV?
You read right here. Yeah, here.
Good afternoon. On the buffalo, we currently, I think we have 94 head currently up there. We sold 13 a couple months ago. We received, I think, $330 a pound, $333 a pound for them, and brought in about $21,000. And then the other ones, they're up there. We wormed them a couple weeks ago, turned them out, and fertilized the pasture. Spent about $5,800 on the pasture fertilizing it, and we're in the process of probably gathering them back up, worming them. We already wormed them. We're going to worm them again in 45 days, and then we'll probably spray the field probably this week or next week.
Do we do business with the Quapaw tribe? They're into that beef market there.
We sold the buffalo to them because they was wanting something to raise,
Sure.
and because they don't have the numbers that we have, and so we haven't done any business with them, no. But I mean, they are, they're into it to market, the cattle and the buffalo, and they're building a processing plant and everything like that up there.
Okay.
And they're not quite done with it yet, but that's their intentions.
Okay.
Joe, I might say we're in the process. Talked to the Osage tribe today, and they're wanting to buy a bull from us, and so we're negotiating on the price right now. And they have a few cows, but no bulls. So they want to do a big photo op and publicity shoot if this happens. So I'll keep you all posted.
On bull. Thank you.
What the reason they want a bull is they bought the Turner place, and give like
Maybe you know why they want a bull. Huh?
All cows have a bull now.
They bought that Ted Turner place.
When you guys do a photo op, you guys will got me for a photo op.
Anyway, Ted offered to sell the buffalo to them, and they bought the land, which is $42 million they paid for it. So they were out of money, so they had to defer the buffalo because they wanted $800,000 for the buffalo. They didn't have it, so they gathered all the buffalo up and had 5 cows they didn't gather, and so the 5 cows are out there without a bull, and they want to kind of get the herd going. And they also joined ITBC, which we joined for the free buffalo, but you're away from getting those 50 buffalo. And so, they bought 800 head of cows, put on that Turner place, but the cows and the buffalo are starting to run together, so they're trying to get a bull on them.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I see why you deferred that. You never know how it's gonna go.
I know. It's like Dick
Yes,
said,
sir.
loaded question. Right.
Bruce, I've got a couple of questions here. Brush Creek Church, I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Know where it's at?
Does the Cherokee Nation own that property there?
I don't think so, Harley, but I'll check on it for you.
Can you find
I
out?
can, yes.
Either email me or call me.
Okay.
I've got a meeting with them. I saw where we purchased 10 acres. Where was that 10 acres at?
We purchased 10 acres.
Yes, that's what your report said.
We purchased 10 acres, Joe?
Acres acquired, training.
Took 160 land, 160 acres of donation.
Hang on a minute.
If we did, Harley, I'll have to look it up.
It's in the report, and
Which one?
I looked for it for February and March, and it wasn't in their report then.
10 acres. Let me check on it, get back to you, Harley. Okay, that's sure what it says. That's a good report. Yeah, good report.
Well, I noticed it wasn't in the last month or the month before reports.
We had to have that 10 acres, to put that bull on there.
The other thing is
Of course, that's this year. Okay.
we're doing an environmental assessment over in 182 acres over in Craig County. Well, is that part of the stuff that we're putting in trust? There were several pieces of property,
Yes, it is, and that would be with Tom's group.
Tom's group, okay. I'm wondering where that's located.
Can get you a map, Harley.
Okay.
Yeah, show you right where it's at.
I would like to know about the Brush Creek Church, because they call me on some.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions for Bruce? Good report, Bruce.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks, sir. Moving on down to real estate services. Mr. Ginger Brown. Hello, Ginger.
Good, Ginger.
Thank you.
Got through here.
Hey, thank you. Ginger is on vacation this week, so I'm sitting in for her. And if you guys have any questions off of the report, I'll do my best to answer them or try to find an answer for you.
Mr. Chairman? Hey, Bill, on this, there's a resolution that was handed to us earlier. Is this where we need to address this? Are you going to explain that, the easement, Hastings Hospital on the,
I can if we need to right here. Yes, sir.
okay. We probably need to amend the agenda then, if you're going to do that.
I'll move the amendment.
Okay. Motion, second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the resolution is for OG&E to supply power and a substation to the new Hastings hospital expansion project. And the chief and we had a meeting here the other day, and they kind of wanted to get that on there as quickly as possible so we can go ahead and start getting everything ready to get electrical power to that area. That's going to go on the north end of the place, and on the south end is where the Lake Region Electric comes into that. There's a separate easement for each one of those utilities out there. So the OG&E one is going to go before the Bureau of Indian Affairs for an easement. The rest of the things we can use a service line agreement where the tribe can sign off on it, supplying all the water, sewer, everything, but the power itself, it runs over a certain kilovoltage, so we have to use an easement from the BIA for that specific easement. So we have to have a resolution in place before we can send that over there for approval.
Got a question?
I I was asking Councilman Jordan a second ago, but on the Lake region, so it was $1 million cheaper to go with OG&E.
That question, I would not know the answer to. That would be whoever's, probably health would be the reason. I mean, when it gets to us, all we're doing is, they tell us OG&E's, however the contract come about, that's over on the health side of it, so.
On the health side of it?
Yes.
So that's gonna be Connie Davis or somebody, you know that?
Right, yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Speaker, are we lining up to vote on this now? Are we questioning
We're in discussion right now.
if I could, we need power and gas and so forth, but in fact, I see them on all three of these resolutions that are coming through resources. Mr. Speaker and I, we talked about these waivers, evaluations, and waivers of bonds, and waivers of compensation. I think I see some folks sitting behind you who probably wanted to talk about that, or maybe it's you. But whenever I see a waiver, a red flag goes up. And forgive me for being so independent, but that's just the way I am.
Okay, that's understandable. The waiver on these particular projects that we're doing here are for public services, communities. This particular easement itself, they're supplying electrical power to the hospital itself. Chad Harsh is here. He may have a answer for that as well.
As far as the waivers, I think that's kind of the standard language that we include in these resolutions. In this particular,
If I may, beg to differ with you, no, it's not. These are something new I've started to see.
Right.
And
In the past, we could, if the tribe itself isn't going to charge for that easement itself, if we're charging for a pipeline going across our property or something like that, we wouldn't include the waiver unless it was for something that was supplying Cherokee Nation's property, or the business or the buildings or houses. Everything's going to be supplied to the nation. So
right, and in this case, we're not going to be receiving any compensation for it because it's an infrastructure to the benefit of our facilities that we're going to be constructing. So this is the language that the BIA has kind of, specifically wanted us to spell out in these resolutions, that that there's not going to be a bond, and there's not really a need for a bond in this case. There's not going to be any valuation waiver because there is no value being exchanged. So it's been something that we've included, as far as I'm aware, in the last of recently in these resolutions.
yeah, the waiver of valuation would be so that the tribe did not have to pay for an appraisal. You're not going to find a whole lot of utility appraisals for, electric unless it's a road widening project where they're relocating electricity. Then you'll find appraisals for that. And anything we do in that sense, we won't be including that same language in. But for these specific easements that are on there, and I think there's also one for a community building on there as well. In the past, we could put a one-sentence piece at the very bottom of the paragraph at the page and say we're going to waive the bond or appraisal. Now, the Bureau of Indian Affairs makes us cite each regulation, like each one of them will have 25 CFR 169 something there beside it. And that's the specific regulation that it gives us, the tribe the authority to sign, the tribe the authority to waive evaluation, to waive the bond, to basically, they want to know it's in the best interest of the tribe, and they want to know it's in the best interest of what our tribal council, if the tribal council doesn't approve that, then we'll have to go around and try to find a new avenue to do this.
And this language, is similar to what you would have for if you were granting an easement in favor of a pipeline. They would want you to either go out and get a reasonable value for what the value of offering that grant is. But in this case, we're just spelling out that we aren't receiving valuation. We're waiving valuation. We're waiving the right to have a bond because it's not necessary.
Yes, Councilman Baker.
Yes. We amended the agenda to include this. We say that it was going under new business, and since we're discussing it now, I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Okay.
Second.
And if you have any
Nice.
questions, it was quoted 25 CFR 162, 428, and 434, so I did the research and passed those out if you all had any questions about those, so every council member has those.
Thank you. Okay, we've got a motion.
Wait a second.
Nash, got a motion and a second. Any more questions?
Motion to amend and put this on, or what?
We got a motion to amend.
To approve it.
I have some more questions in that case.
So you're up.
Okay, thank you. And if we waive this, go through it again, I think you tried to go through that just now, but if we did not put this language in, because this language is somewhat of a protection to us normally, is that correct?
It protects us, and it also saves the tribe from having to get an appraisal on something that we're not going to charge a value to. We're not charging OG&E to supply the electric to Hastings Hospital. So,
Well, and what we're doing here is a good thing. We need it. We gotta have it. But I'm going to vote for it under protest of all these waivers. I just don't like these waivers because some of these things were built up and sent up for the protection of tribes at one time or another. And and they're also in these other,
the other two, yes, sir.
two that are coming up, and I don't think.
The next one that you get will be for Phillips 66. It's a pipeline at Chilocco.
Right.
It will definitely not have that same language on there, because we'll definitely want to have the bond and the appraisal done on that, because that is something that the tribe will be compensated for. It'll be a 20-year pipeline easement.
It says, where's that here? Well, okay, let's get through this one. I'll vote for it under protest because I think there's some protections there that are not really being fully explained to us at this time. There's a reason this stuff is on the books. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
You got a motion and a second?
I'd like to add friendly that this go to full council tonight.
That's
And I'll
good.
accept that.
Good.
I got a,
Yes.
also, the wind farm was the first time that we started, that we didn't do the waiver of appraisal through the BIA. It was the next piece of property that we started doing the waiver of appraisal, because BIA, they require that. And it is a protection so that tribes don't get ripped off when they're trying to sell the land or what the land's worth. But this says Cherokee Nation has to negotiate compensation satisfactory to the tribe, which is satisfactory to us. What's to say that we say that that piece of land's worth 5 cents, satisfactory to the tribe, but the BIA says, well, this land's worth $1 million. When we waive the appraisal portion of it, you're putting it into one person's hands versus a non-biased opinion of what the appraisal is. But the BIA's there to, like I said, be sure that tribes aren't getting screwed. But you'd be amazed of the number of tribes that they end up jipping themselves through waiving the appraisal process. I have friends that work in the real estate department of BIA, and so they inform me of the processes, how this goes. So I'm familiar with this, and I'd like.
Well, that language came specifically from that gentleman that were.
Yeah.
I understand the question that you're asking. I do, and anything that we are charging money for, we definitely will not waive the appraisal, because there's a lot of things, like you're saying, that we may not know what the price of something is, especially on, the value of an 8-inch pipeline compared to a 12-inch, or a 24-inch pipeline. That range from there is, tens of thousands of dollars. But for a project that we're not requesting any compensation for, that's the reason we're asking for the waiver of valuation, because there's not really a reason for the tribe to spend $3,000 or $4,000 getting an appraisal done for the easement and the substation itself that we're not going to be charging that company any money
And
for.
the regulations that, for this particular resolution are the same for all easements that are granted on tribal land. So this is somewhat of it doesn't fit real well because we aren't granting an easement for a pipeline. We're granting an easement off our own property for a substation for our own benefit. So it does kind of fit awkwardly. But, it's the same regulatory structure for offering this easement as opposed to a pipeline easement. So that's why that language is specifically
And
included.
and being a local, and I know Cherokee Nation's a big fan of keeping the dollar in Oklahoma and keeping it into the area. And Lake Region they provide a lot of jobs in economic growth for Cherokee County and Wagner County. And why aren't we going with a local energy distributor?
They're on the southern part of the project. I do not. I mean, that's like I said. That's a health question. On which contract they did to go with
I'm
that.
just saying that I know people like Region. They're going to be questioning me. How come you guys aren't going with us? That's the answer I like to have to me at some point, so I know how to answer the Lake Region folks.
This contract.
I don't know. I wish someone was here to answer more of these questions when you present this legislation this last minute. So this is important. We need electricity to it, but there are some other variables that are involved with it. So, thank you, Chair.
You have a motion second, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion and a second. Any more questions?
All in favor? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Ayes have it. Shall we move on now?
Good luck. Keep us posted on that.
Okay, we will. Yes, sir.
If you give me the answers on that Lake Region as well, asking those people, text or email or something.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I say, they're part of the project. They just didn't get the main source that's coming from GRDA straight to to OG&E. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
The contractor would choose that.
Yeah, it's like I said, that would be whoever health gets
Yeah.
their contractor is to get that.
Oh, the contractor of
Yeah.
the facility, Flint Co.
I don't know who that is.
Flint Co's the contractor.
Whoever that is gets to choose, the general contractor.
Flint Co.
Flint Co.
won.
Who's the contractor?
Flint Co.
Chairman,
Flint Co's the contractor.
can I ask an unrelated question?
Yes, please.
Unrelated?
Please? Well, it's related, not to that
Related to
contract
him.
that we just voted on that,
Okay, that's,
oh, thank you. The bids were supposed to close on March 27th on the walking trails at Saline Courthouse. Is this passing the buck?
But that's not under us. So,
Okay.
That's
under Sandy. WC, the bids out on the walking.
The bids were to have closed on the walking trails on Saline Courthouse. It said on this report, the end of March. And I just wondered if a decision had been made, if we were going to be moving forward on that.
No, ma'am, they're still evaluating the prices that came in. It was a wide variance of prices. It was large enough for us to go back and start having a D-scope and consider each vendor's proposal to make sure we were getting apples to apples. And
Okay.
getting the best value for the tribe.
Okay. Thank you.
finished.
Good report.
Thank you. Good questions.
Moving on down to environmental programs, Tom Elkins.
Sarah's up.
Just take his questions.
I'll just do a,
Tom's not here.
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll move on down to Secretary of Natural Resources, Miss Sarah Hill.
I know Tom was out a little unexpectedly this week, so if you have any questions about his report, I'd be happy to get answers for you if I can't answer that myself.
Sarah, I'd like to pose one question that you can pass on to Tom.
Certainly.
Plastics. Have we ever tried to cut back on our purchasing of plastics here at the tribe and set a precedent for everybody else?
I think that's a great question, and that's something we've been talking about internally, including styrofoam, purchases of styrofoam, and improving our recycling here at the Cherokee Nation. And those are both projects that Tom and I have been both working on.
Okay.
And Miss Cherokee came to me and talked to me about her feelings about that too. And I know that environmental issues are important to her. So that's a discussion that's been ongoing for a few months about how to best do that. So I'll provide a better update at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm a little bit under the weather today, so I apologize. Under the administration support, PAG 1 and I have continued to work. We've accepted a proposal to build a solar canopy in front of the complex to scope it out. It will provide solar power to electric vehicles. So we'll have electric cars at the tribe that employees can use, and instead of using gas-powered motor vehicles. And so it'll also be something that's available to people who come to the complex who drive electric cars, can plug them up there and recharge them here at the facility. And they'll be solar powered. So it's a carbon cutting thing that we're going to do here at the Cherokee Nation. So that'll be, we still haven't got it all scoped out yet, but we've hired a contractor to do that. So that's one thing that I've been excited about and working on for some months now. And that project continues. Pat was called in to look at an etching that was located, and this is sort of a blend between administration support and tribal historic preservation. There was an etching that was found on a rock that was in Cherokee, and they didn't know how old it was, and so they asked for us to come and take some pictures and look at it, and we have been examining that and trying to figure out what its purpose is or what its meaning is, and so Pat's been working on that along with the Medicine Keepers. And the Medicine Keepers are a group of tribal, cultural, and language-speaking elders who help us with some of these types of issues. There is, I think that's we wrapped up this year. We did our final seed bank mail out, so we had a very successful year with the seed bank. There was an unfortunate incident. There was a vehicle that went off the road near the native plant garden, and there was some damage to two of the fences, and a tree was destroyed. The car went off the road and did some damage there. So there was some damage to the native plant garden, which we're working on restoring. The individual involved had insurance, and so we're working with their insurance company to recoup the cost of that damage. But that was an issue that we had. We have as you all know, Sheila Bird left. We've hired a new special projects officer. Today is her first day, who will begin. We pulled her over from CMB. Her name is Elizabeth Toombs. She's got a master's degree. She's been a year in law school, so she's got the right base skills, I think, and will be a good asset to that office. So she'll be assisting Pat, who's been standing in as basically the acting historic preservation officer since Sheila left. So we're glad to get him some help. He's been doing basically double duty since she left, so we're happy to work on that. Everything continues to go at Fish and Wildlife. Our officer continues to attend community meetings. If you have events that you would like us to attend, please let me know. We try to accommodate all of those that we can and distribute licenses. Of course, the big issue in my office continues to be the Sequoia Fuels issue. That hearing was scheduled for late March. It's been reset to April 26th. It did go to the Supreme Court. They filed a writ, which is asking this Oklahoma Supreme Court to step in and undo the order protecting that site that was entered by the district court judge. We filed responses to that, and the Supreme Court refused to grant the request of Sequoia Fuels. So that was a victory I anticipated, but it's still good to get that done. So it's still scheduled for trial on April 26th. So that continues to be something that takes a lot of my time and energy. Trying to prepare for that and get everything together so that we're prepared. I continue to work with the state on that issue as well. So that's a snapshot. I can go into more detail and answer any specific questions if you have them.
Any questions, Sarah? Thank you, Sarah. Good report.
Thank you.
Moving on down to old business, none pending. Moving down to new business, 17040, Frankie. Ms. Frankie.
This is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation to lease tribal trust land to the CC Camp Community Organization, Inc., located on CMS 8A Cherry Tree Ridge Gym and Ball Fields, containing 26.48 acres more or less. This was formally approved, previously approved, and, but the BIA has asked for additional specification, and Joel explained that, and I put that in form of motion.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Are there any questions? We need,
You just
Joel,
want to
you
comment,
wanna-
Joel, real quick?
Yeah, it goes back to what we was talking about a while ago on the, we had that one paragraph at the very bottom of our resolution. And getting with the BIA, they wanted it specifically to say the reason why we're only charging the community building $1 a year, and we're not having to get an appraisal for just that specific purpose. We added the language to it, and we're representing the resolution so we can get the lease approved. So.
yes,
Mr. Chairman, and this is the only one of these three resolutions that really I think this is applicable to for these waivers, because it's us. And so I'm not going to, I still don't like the waivers, but I like it here a lot better than the other two. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I would ask that this go to full council tonight.
Question. Question back there from Councilor Creighton.
yes, Councilman Britton.
Can I be added to as a sponsor on this? I like them cherry tree boys too.
Goes both sides of the road, doesn't it?
Any more questions? All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes?
We had a motion and a second, right?
Yes.
Any more questions?
No, we just voted on it.
We voted on it.
Yeah.
Any nays then?
No, we're good.
We're good, thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Joel, you're good? Oh, wait a minute, we got one more.
I think there's one more, yeah. Probably going to pertain to about the same thing.
Counselor Taylor, you're up.
Yes, David.
This is a resolution authorizing the renewal of a grant of easement for right-of-way on an existing natural gas line to the Oklahoma Natural Gas Company for the Cherokee Heights Addition Tribal Housing Project 45-16 in Pryor, Oklahoma, Mays County, and I ask for its approval. Second.
Motion second.
And a motion and a second, any questions? Yes, Mr. Lay.
And I'll say again, I don't like the waivers. Anybody who thinks that ONG or the other company's not gonna make money off of us, trust me, they're not doing it for free. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
No, yes, sir. And that pipeline easement specifically is set to a housing project that the Cherokee Nation
Yes, sir.
owns, and all tribal members living in the housing project, so.
That's it. All in favor?
All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Joel, do you know if this needs to go to full council tonight? It's not until.
No, it doesn't, it can go
I don't
till,
think there's
yeah,
any big rush.
yeah, I think it expires in
I get
2018.
my stuff done in a timely manner.
Well, mine was done a long time ago. Just redone it.
Back in October.
Moving on down to announcements. We have any announcements? Next meeting, Monday, May the 15th. Yes, sir.
I want to get a quick announcement, I'm sorry. The
Sure.
environmental fair will be April 21st, out at the Talking Leaves Chalkboard. Anybody wants to?
Okay.
Have an announcement on the trail ride, April 22nd at National South Salt Creek Park down there. And David Thornton is providing food.
So I'll be too old.
We expect several hundred riders. We've had, that's on Saturday, 9 o'clock, we'll ride at noon, and we'll ride back out a couple hours that day.
What time you eat, GB?
12 o'clock, 11:30.
Okay.
So you won't miss it.
It won't be too long until 7.
So you can bring your meal.
That's deputy.
We appreciate it.
Joe, are you gonna borrow deputy's mule for that?
I'm good.
can wear a
You
sombrero.
ride too, can't you?
He's
Need a
have
motion to
sombrero.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion adjourned.
All approved.
Well, let's do it again.
Aye.